Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day today, and welcome to episode 4 of the Rainbow Challenge. So as I just said, we've done 3 other episodes of this challenge, so if you wanted to see those, I have a playlist on my channel and you can go and watch through all of those. So last month we did unhaul all the books that we read, so we didn't really have a great reading vlog that one, but I'm hoping that we can turn it around this month and have a fantastic time. I do have a couple of colours that I only have 1 or 2 books for, but I will approach that when we get to those colours if that's what we spin. But without talking too much, let me just jump into this video and let me spin the wheel of colours. So as you can see on the wheel, I've taken off our previous colours. So previously we've had green, rainbow and purple. So now these are all the remaining colours, and I am hoping, if I say this it might not happen, but I'm hoping for blue, and there's something special I'll have to do if I spin blue, but let's see what it lands on now. Oh, so close to blue. Red. Okay, let's see what's on my shelf for red. Okay, so I've put together 3 books that I've taken off my shelves that are the most read to me and are the most what I might be in the mood for at the moment. So let me show you those 3 books. So the first book that I picked up off the shelf is a sequel to Assistant to the Villain, and it is Apprentice to the Villain. Now, I believe that I read this book maybe end of last year with the Homey and Homely book club on Fable, and I really wanted to get into this book, but to be honest with you, I was initially saving it for if red came up in this, and I since have bought more red books. So I think this is an ideal option for the red book that I read today. The next book I grabbed off the shelf is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. Now, Cassandra Clare, for me, I've read all of her Shadowhunters books, and this is her first go into adult fantasy, I think it is. And I've been putting it off because I'm worried that it'll ruin her for me, but I know that she's such a fabulous writer and I love her book so much that I shouldn't be worried about this one. So I think I've just been putting it off for no reason, and it could be really good. It is on the thicker side, so I believe I was about to say that it's 500 pages, but it is in fact 604 pages long. So it is on the heftier side, and I am struggling to read a bit this month. So we will see if this one gets picked. And the last book I've picked up is a new one to my shelves, and it is The Forest King's Daughter by Ellie Blake. I read her Frostblood trilogy a while ago, so I do not know whether I will like this book or not, but I liked her books at the time of reading it. It's just been a while, so we'll have to see how this one goes, but it is one that I am excited to pick up to see what happens. So let me see what one I want to start with at least. Okay, so here are the 3 books that I have to choose from, and straight away I'm going to pull out Swordcatcher out of the equation, because like I said, this is quite a hefty book at the moment and I'm very much struggling to have books hold my attention. I want to give this book the best possibility it can, and I also don't want to put myself further into a slump than I already am, so this will be going back on the shelf. So these are the 2 remaining books. Now, I do believe that there's a possibility that I could get through both of these books at once, but I'm not going to promise that, because as I said with the last book, I'm very much struggling to get through books at the moment, and it's actually been quite frustrating to try and stay in a book and to finish it. I've actually been DNFing a lot of books purely because they're not holding my attention very quickly. So I think for the sake of familiarity, I am going to pick Apprentice to the Villain because I've recently read the first book. I know that I loved the first book. It was really funny and humorous, and it was just an easy read, and I think this is honestly what I need at the moment, whereas this one I don't quite know anything about, and I need to be motivated to read this one. So I'm going to start with this one, the happy-go-lucky humorous one, and we'll see how we go from this. I'll update you guys when I'm a little bit into it, and I'll probably start reading it after book club tonight, but when I start reading it, I'll be sure to let you know and let you know what I'm thinking. So this is me coming from the future to tell you guys about Apprentice to the Villain, this book, because I realised that once I'd finished filming all the clips that I had filmed for this book as I was reading it, and when I was talking to you guys about it, I didn't actually say what the book was about. So this book, Apprentice to the Villain, is the sequel to Assistant to the Villain, which I read closer to the end of last year. And it's basically... this girl is struggling, looking for a job to support her family. Her father's ill, and she stumbles across the villain in the forest, and he just so happens to have a job opening, and she becomes the assistant to the villain. And she basically works with the villain as his assistant for like a couple of months and everything, and builds into that job as she goes. She experiences different things that the villain does and realizes what he's actually like, and she's just, her as a character is just really, she's clumsy, but she's always happy, always smiling, always making someone feel good about themselves, but her clumsiness sort of gives it some comedic relief. And also just the fact that this villain in this book is like, he's definitely a villain with things that he does, but it's almost like he's got a soft spot and not many people know about it, and she's sort of unlocking that in him, and it's just a lot of comedic relief. My favourite character from the first book is Kingsley. He's a little frog here. Whoop, there. He holds up signs. Comedic relief. He holds up signs that say certain words at certain times, and he's just really fun popping up in the book. So I hope that gives like a little bit more without spoiling what happens in the first book, because there are reveals that happen in this book. But all I will say is that the second book starts with them going to rescue the villain. I'm not going to say why he needs rescuing. I'm not going to say what happened at the end of the last book, but they are going to rescue the villain. So I am going to leave it at that. I will have you guys come in when I was reading it at the start, but just understand that I was having trouble putting words together because I was enjoying this book so much, and it's so funny, and it was giving me everything that I needed at the time, that I was having trouble speaking. So bear with that, and I hope you guys enjoy hearing about what I thought. So just a quick little update before I get too carried away with this book. I've been reading Apprentice to the Villain, and I'm really enjoying it, just like I enjoyed the first one. I know a lot of people don't like the humour as much, but I love the humour. The humour is exactly what I need at the moment. I'm basically either cackling or giggling every couple of chapters, if not every chapter, and it's just really enjoyable. It's sort of playing out like a sitcom, and it's doing everything that I needed it to right now. I just needed something funny and witty and just easy to read. I will say though, I'm up to chapter 30, which is not quite halfway through the book. I think I'm about 30 pages away from halfway. It was quite fast paced at the start, but at the moment it has slowed down a fair bit. So the first book that I read in this series was easy to read. I wouldn't say fast paced, but the pace that it was going was suitable for what it was, and it was funny, and I loved it a lot. This one, however, as much as I'm still loving it, and my favourite character is still Kingsley the Frog, who holds up his little signs, It is a lot slower, and it is sort of going into slightly tedious territory, but the humor keeps bringing me back. So in my opinion, it is still worth it to read, and it is hard to put down. The short chapters are easy, although they seem shorter. The writing is quite small, which I didn't fully notice in the first book when I read it, but it's more noticeable now because I've been reading so many books with bigger writing compared to normal, that now that I've got tiny writing, it's a lot to try and focus on. I am enjoying it though. I'm really, really loving it. I love the chemistry between the characters. I love the camaraderie between other characters. I do really like the premise of where the story is going, but I need it to pick up a little bit. I need to have it grab me and pull me in to keep reading, because I am enjoying it and I do keep picking it up, but I am slowing down. I think the first book I read in a couple of days, and this book has now taken me 3 days to get up to just under halfway, which typically I'd be all over and reading fast, but I also understand that I am reading a bit slower now. I'm coming out of a book slump, but I'm not fully out of the book slump yet. So as much as I enjoy reading this, and this is something that I would have picked up anyway to try and get myself out of a book slump, it is a little bit slow. So I'm hoping it picks up soon. I am giving it the full benefit of the doubt because the first book did so well for me and it's really funny and I'm really enjoying it. So I am giving it the full benefit of the doubt. I believe it will come into fruition soon. Again, we're not up to halfway yet, so we're not majority of the way through yet. So it could change a lot from here, and that's sort of what the first book did as well. It was slow at the start, and then as things started to get more dangerous, it picked up. So I do have faith in it, and I think it will be good. But I just thought I'd update you guys before I get too carried away, because I realized I hadn't actually updated you guys on what I was reading, and I think you would enjoy knowing. So I'm going to continue reading Apprentice to the Villain, and hopefully we do speed up a little bit, but for now I am enjoying the pace at the moment, and hopefully it does get even better throughout. So I'm sitting here less than 24 hours later to say that I finished Apprentice to the Villain. And you're going to have to bear with me because I've just finished it, and to get my thoughts together is going to be quite a feat at the moment. But what I will say is that I absolutely loved it. So I mentioned before that I love the humor of it and the sitcom nature of it, and it's really intriguing to me how it sort of plays out and everything. I love the banter between the characters, no matter whether it's the main two characters or whether it's all the other characters. All their banter is irresistible and funny and had me kicking my feet and cackling, and I was having a great time. Every time the Frog Kingsley puts up his sign with his word on it, I'm cackling. It's always like well-timed comedic relief right at the right moment, and it's so good. I love the clumsiness of the main female character and how it sort of puts them in situations that you wouldn't think that would happen, but they happen because she's clumsy and she gets them out of it in the most miraculous ways. And it's just, I really enjoy these books so much. The first book hit me really hard at the time, as like it punched me in the gut with how funny it was, and I was just hadn't been reading stuff around that time that was like that. And it's the same goes for me reading the sequel now. It just gives you all of the laughter that you need and that you're craving. I also relate greatly to the overthinking that every character basically does in this book. And it is to the point where I can see where the miscommunication might disrupt other people's reading experiences, but I'm kind of living for it because I just literally get it and I understand it, and it's really funny and I love it. there's not much more words that I can say to bring my thoughts together, because again, I just finished it. I really enjoyed it. I rated it 4 stars. I don't think I can budge from that. The only reason that it's 4 stars and not 5 is because I understand that as far as the plot goes, there's a little bit to be desired, and there's definitely more that could have been built on it. But because it's such an enjoyable experience for me, and it's just easy to read and funny and everything I need, like, for that experience alone, 4 stars is the perfect rating for it. And I think that that's around what I rated the first book as well. I think it was 4.25 stars, the first book. And this year I'm not rating in quarters, I'm only rating in halves. So 4 stars is where it's landed. It was a little bit less than the first book was. It did slow down a bit earlier on than the first book did, but I still enjoyed my time. And certain things that were revealed at the end, I was cackling and kicking my feet. It was everything that I needed, everything that I wanted, and I'm so happy I read it. I'm so happy I rolled red. I'm so happy this book came up and that it came up at this point. So now that I've finished that book, I am going to go pick up The Forest King's Daughter by Ellie Blake, which I showed you at the start of the video. I don't currently have it with me at the moment, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break to just soak up what this first book was. And then I'm going to read and start that book, and I'll update you guys when I'm a little bit through it. But I am going to give myself a break because I have not moved from this spot on this chair since 11 o'clock, and it is now almost 4 o'clock. So I need to move around, I need to do something, but that will be the next book that I pick up, and I hope to update you guys soon about it. Okay, so this is me coming in to update you guys on The Forest King's Daughter. So this is the book that I just started. I know I didn't have it in the last clip, but this is the book that I've started. This is basically, it's in a world where you've got humans, you've got Dracu, which is demons, and you got Sylvans, which are forest people. Basically, a Dracu boy and a Sylvan princess, or the forest princess, they sort of, I think when they're 7 years old, make a bit of a friendship. They find each other in the forest and they keep meeting. And he has brought her a present on this third time that they're meeting. He's grabbed a ring from his mother's jewellery box, thinking that it's a priceless ring that she won't miss. And he gives it to this girl. He doesn't realise at the time, but this ring has a very important gemstone in it. And so basically the demon queen arrives, as well as the forest king, and she demands her gemstone back, but the forest king goes, no, it was rightfully given to my daughter, and therefore he has declared war against the demon queen and the Dracu race. So now the Dracu and the Sylvans are at war, and we sort of flash forward 10 years into the future. We're following Cassia, the forest princess, who now has this ring on her finger and has had for the last decade. And she's training as a warrior, but she's also training as a death ringer, which is the person that wears the ring. Now, basically, this ring gives the power of light. So she can control light to the point that I think that the light can actually kill people around her. But she's not at that point yet. She's struggling to control it. And she's dealing with the strain of pressure from her father, who's putting this pressure on her because he has all these hopes and dreams to basically rule over all the lands. And she is the key to it because she's the one with the ring with the powers. So he's putting all this pressure on her, and she's struggling with his disapproval as she starts to not be able to control the ring. She can't get a strong enough power coming from the ring to warrant the amount of damage that he wants to do, and therefore she's working very hard to impress him to be what he wants her to be, and to the point that she's putting herself in danger. And one day she puts herself in so much danger that she gets kidnapped by the Draco boy again because he wants the ring back. So where I'm at the moment, I'm up to chapter 6. And everything that I just said is basically what has happened so far. So I'm only on page 60. So I'm that far through it, if you can see my bookmark. Now, I'm really enjoying it because I remember enjoying her other series, Frostblood. I enjoyed this series, but understand that I read that series probably 8 years ago, so it's not fresh in my mind on why I loved it and what happened in it. So when this book came out this year and I grabbed it, I knew that I loved her writing at the time, but I couldn't remember why. Now, reading this, I know why I loved that writing, but this, I think I need to delve more into it to understand why. Because I'm enjoying her style of writing, but I don't know whether it's too young for me now. But it's not that the writing is young, it's that it's not hitting something. There's something missing. And yes, that's a lot to say when I'm only 60 pages into a 378 page book. That's a lot to say. But I don't know what I'm thinking at the moment because it's only just sort of picked up a little bit. So the prologue was when they were 7, and then chapter 1 goes 10 years in the future. And up until this point, until she's been kidnapped by the boy, she's just living her life under the scrutiny of her father, who doesn't think that she's starting to think that she's not worthy of this ring. But it turns out that she's bonded with the ring. So I can see how now that she knows that, maybe she will open herself to the power a bit more and it'll make it easier for her. But at the moment, yeah, we're just sort of stuck in a slow moving sort of world. And I'll see if it speeds up from here because I've got a lot of hope. Like, there's over 300 pages that I haven't read. So I've got a lot of hope in it. And it could delve into something further that's really intriguing to me. It'll be interesting to see whether the demon boy and her can sort of reconcile, because they were really good friends when they were 7, and they sort of blame each other for certain things, and he's not listening to her and she's not listening to him fully, and they've sort of been manipulated by their parents quite a lot as well. So it'll be interesting to see them maybe start to realize that and start to think for themselves and not think about the pressure of their parents and their families and their heritage and everything. So once I get into that, I might update you guys again. But right now, I am enjoying it. Like, it's not a bad book. It's just something is missing and I can't quite put my finger on it at the moment. But we'll see what sort of happens as I keep reading into it. Okay, so I am now back, and I fully intended on updating you guys when I had 100 pages left, but I hit 100 pages left at about 1 a.m. So I decided that instead of doing that, I would keep reading the next morning. So this morning I kept reading and I finished off The Forest King's Daughter. I had to remind myself what it was called. I don't have a lot of words put together yet because I only just finished it. Excuse me while I play with the dog as well. I've only just finished the book, so I'm trying to update you guys while my mind's fresh, but also I'm still sort of trying to collect what my thoughts are. So I will say that going through this book, I can't remember what I told you guys last, but at the start of the book, it was quite slow and it was getting into it a little slow for me at the time. So I had just come off The Apprentice to the Villain. I was in high hopes that this was going to be just as good. Obviously, I didn't expect the humour from Apprentice to the Villain, which it's not a humorous book, this one. But I will say that when I updated you guys, I, again, was only 60 pages in, and so I understood that it was going to develop from there. But I was quickly reminded of how atmospheric and magical Ellie Blake's writing is. So I started to feel connected to this book probably just after I updated you guys. I started to really get into it, and I realized that the reason that I was reading slower than I wanted to was because I had so many other things on my mind to do. So once I actually forgot everything else and locked down into the book, I was really enjoying it. It was everything that I expected from this author. Now, I don't remember exactly what her other books were about, the Frostblood books, but this is her other trilogy. I believe it's the only other books that she's written. And I remember loving these. And I think that I've fallen back in love with this author by reading this. It's just the struggles that the main character goes through trying to impress her father and trying to do what he wants her to do. But then she realizes that she doesn't need to do what he wants. She needs to do what she wants to do and what she feels is right. And the character development is so fantastic in this book that it hooked me. I didn't know what was going to happen. I will admit, though, when there were scenes that seemed like they couldn't get out of it, I did sort of know that they would get out of it easier because she would somehow just figure it out very easy. Hello, sweetheart. It's more that... Thank you for the kisses. It's more that when I see danger, I want to have sort of a little bit more struggle to get the answer. This is going to be a series, and I don't know whether the next books will be in the perspective of this girl and the boy that was also in it, the Dracu boy and the Sylvan princess. I don't know whether it's going to be them in the next book or whether it's going to change perspectives. I don't have any idea what it's going to be, but I would have expected it to be drawn out a little bit more as far as not knowing what's going to happen, because it was almost too easy how things were solved at some points. But I will admit, when it got to a point where it was hard to solve and she was willing to risk her life for everything, I understood it more then. It just took us a while to get to that point. I did love it just as much. The writing is so magical. It just takes you away, and it literally takes you away to another place. Like in this book, she gets taken away to another place and then she comes back. It is very much like that in the writing. And the dedication at the start to my dad, who said, "Why don't you write a book about a forest?" As soon as I read that, I was like, oh, that's really, it's really sweet and everything. And then I got to the end of the book, and in the acknowledgements, she said her parents had passed away while she was writing the book. So it means a lot more then. And with that in hindsight, it's even more magical to read the experiences and things that happen in this book. I love these sorts of books. I acknowledge that this is probably a young adult book, so it's expected from it for the most part. But not all books need spice. Not all books need smut. Not all books need anything of that sort. This is what true chemistry is, in my opinion. Now, again, the writing may not be the best I've ever read, but it's so atmospheric that it is perfect for this book. And that's why I'm giving it a 4 stars. Yes, it started off rough as far as the pacing goes for myself, just myself, but it was so magical, and I loved the connections. I kept connecting to the idea of Sealy Court and the Unseelie Court, And that's what I kept thinking that this was. And it seems like it's inspired by that. But I was connecting to the magic. I love this sort of magic. I love the magic of the earth. I love the magic that's just, it's pure. And in the wrong hands, it could be handled badly and it could turn to death magic. But it, for the most part, is pure. And I just really loved it. And I went into this not knowing anything. I didn't read about it. I just saw the author and bought it. And honestly, it's everything I could have hoped for. And this could be me coming fresh off a book slump and really enjoying the books that I'm coming off of this book slump with. But for now, this is a 4-star. I really enjoy it. And I can't wait to see what she's going to write next. So that's the end of episode 4 of the Rainbow Challenge. I hope you guys are enjoying this series as much as I am. I will say that if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe. It would be much appreciated. I love talking about books with people and I'd love to share it with more people on this platform. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.